Hello and welcome to the NU series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja and today we are going to discuss all about radiocarbon dating and what is its relation with respect to the Gyanvapi case. So many topics we are going to cover under here, just go through this, and as it is an all-comprehensive segment, you will get to know a lot in this particular segment. So the District Court of Varanasi has given a nod to a petition that seeks radiocarbon dating for the portion which the Hindu claim as the Shivling. So we are going to understand what is radiocarbon dating, what are the datable materials as well as the non-datable materials, and everything with respect to this. Moving ahead, let us talk about what is radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon dating is basically a method that provides objective age estimates. That means it provides a proper age for any organic or certain inorganic materials, basing them that they do have carbon-14 in them or not. Carbon-14 is a radioactive isotope of carbon, okay? And this can be done from the fact, this can be understood from the fact that because living organisms, as they live in their entire life, they accumulate C12 and C14. Once they die, there is a cutoff of C14 exchange from their bodies, and if we get the amount of C14 that is in their body after they have died, we can understand what is their age. We can know about their age, okay? And of course, we have to understand over here the isotopes as well, so stay tuned, okay? And when the measurement of the amount of C14 has been done, it is then measured against the international standards which has been already set, okay? Moving ahead, let us talk about C14. It's a weakly radioactive isotope of carbon. There are three isotopes, C12, C13 and C14. C12 and C13, these are basically stable in nature, but C14 is basically radioactive in nature. It is an isotopic chronometer. That means if we get the amount of C14, then we will know the age of a geology or any other sample by understanding the remnant radioactive isotope that is present in the sample, okay? When we try to understand isotopes, we have to know that the nucleus of an element is made up of subatomic particles. First is neutron, another one is proton. The chemical behavior of any atom can be understood by the number of protons, okay, by the number of protons in the nuclei. But if we have to know that every element also has different, it can be so that atom of elements may also have different number of neutrons. So when the neutrons that are present in them differ, it is known as isotopes. So these different forms are known as isotopes, okay? Moving ahead, let us talk about the isotopes of carbon. There are three, C12, C13 and C14. C12 is the most common that is found in the atmosphere. It is the most common. Now, if we try to understand that how does it accumulate in any organism, let us take one example. Understand that in the upper atmosphere of the earth, we find a lot number of C14, that is carbon 14, and that is because of the interaction of cosmic ray neutrons on the nitrogen 14 atom, okay? Cosmic ray neutrons, when they get along with nitrogen 14 atoms, they produce carbon 14, okay? When they are oxidized, and hence they produce carbon 14. So the living organisms, they interact with the atmosphere, accumulating throughout their life C12 and C14. Specifically, if we talk about plants, plants do it from the help of photosynthesis, with the help of photosynthesis, and the living organisms, they eat plants and hence they also accumulate C12 and C14 and many other, and also we have to understand other elements as well. So because of that, when the organism dies and then what happens? Their body stops interacting with C14. One thing that we have to understand over here, as I mentioned, that C12 is stable in nature, so it stays there. But C14 is radioactive in nature, right? So it starts to decrease its amount over a period of time. Alright, so remember this particular thing. The methodology works on that only. Now, in any sample, carbon-14 atoms will take around 5,730 years to lose half their number. Okay, so this is also known as half-life. Okay, remember that, half-life. And carbon-14 has 6 protons and 8 neutrons in its nucleus. So if it is asked in your examination, you will be able to cite this fact as well. Remember this. Moving ahead, if we talk about the discovery of it, it was discovered in the 1940s by Martin Kamen and Samuel Rubin, and they created it artificially using a cyclotron accelerator at the University of California Radiation Laboratory in Berkeley. But in 1946, what happened? That this newly discovered isotope was touted to be used for radiocarbon dating, and that was in the year 1946, as I told you, by Willard Libby. Remember that as well. And he also won Nobel Prize in Chemistry in December 1960. Okay, Willard Libby actually talked about using it for radiocarbon dating. Remember these facts. Moving ahead, now basic principles, as I have already told you, so I might just go through it and you will revise it. The basic principle, how the organisms accumulated, how they are used is already discussed, so we are just going to revise it. Plants get their carbon through the process of photosynthesis, that we have told. Animals through food, and they acquire C12 and C14 isotopes when they are living through the atmosphere. Once they die, the accumulation stops, and what happens that we are able to get their life, the age of them, through radiocarbon process. If we look for C14, which is radioactive in nature, C12 is stable in nature. Remember that. Moving ahead, let us talk about other things that we have to understand over here. Now, directly counting, apart from getting the age through radiocarbon dating, directly counting the number of atoms of the isotope in a sample could also help in getting the age. This is known as accelerated mass spectrometry. Okay, and it helps in dating bones, artifacts, and other carbon-based items from the tiniest sample. Moving ahead, if we talk about the revelations, if there have been any revelations with respect to radiocarbon dating, when it was found out through radiocarbon dating that Neolithic cultures of Britain, France, and Europe must have evolved independently, this was one of the major revelations. Apart from that, flax used to weave the Turin shroud was also dated with the help of radiocarbon dating, and this was done using only a few fragments, and the origin could be traced back to 1260 to 1390 AD, and the negative image showed a bearded man. Know more about the Turin shroud. This is your homework. Please go through it through Google and get a good site. Don't just go through any other site, but try to get the official site of any good institute. Moving ahead, let's talk about C14 usages in other thing than archaeology. Rather than using just in archaeology and geology, do we have any other usage of it? Yes. Now, drugs, that is medicines, they can be labeled with carbon-14 and followed as they pass through the body in order to test their safety and efficacy. That means when any person wants to take a medicine, it can be labeled as with the help of carbon-14. And what will happen? The following passage, whatever passage will be followed for its safety and efficacy, can be dated with the help, can be measured with the help of carbon-14. And it can also be used to trace the way in which plants convert carbon dioxide into sugar. This is also one of the usages. And to study plankton and other form of sea life as well, because fishes also have an interaction with C14. So what kind of age, what kind of basic diet were they planning on, or basic diet were they following, that can also be traced with the help of carbon-14. Moving ahead, let us talk about other important things, that is, what are the datable materials with the help of C14 and what are not. Datable materials include charcoal, wood, twigs, seeds, bone, shells, leather, peat, lake mud, soil, hair, pottery, then pollen, wall paintings, corals as well, blood residues, fabrics, papers, parchment, resins, among others. So, organic matter can of course be dated with the help of this. Remember that metals cannot be dated with the help of carbon dating. So it could be a prelims fact. Moving ahead. Now, other thing we have to know about over here, non-datable materials. Age of non-living things like rocks, for example, cannot be dated. And one thing that we have to understand over here, that any sample which is more than 40 to 50,000 years of age cannot be dated, because the C14 has already completed its 8 to 10 times of its half-life cycle. Okay, so this is one of the reasons where we can see it as a challenge. Then we have to understand that the shivling which is being claimed by the Hindu groups, how it can be dated. It can be done through indirect methods, like if there were any organic materials such as leaves, dead plants or insects which is trapped beneath the rock, then through that also we can know the age of that area. Okay, and date sedimentation around the object. If sedimentation is also occurring around the object, and that could be dated as well, because this is an organic area or geological material, so that can also be dated. So these are indirect methods. Apart from that, it can be done from radiometric dating, and looking at the proportion of two different isotopes in a sample is the definition of radiometric dating. Okay, so these are the main things that we have to understand over here. Challenges, there are certain challenges as well. First of all, sample more than 40 to 50,000 years cannot be dated. Apart from that, samples can be contaminated by other carbon containing material, which becomes a challenge. So chemical methods can be used to clean the area. Samples that are, this has already been discussed, so that's we are leaving. That is what we are leaving. High carbon dioxide emissions, as we are seeing from the Industrial Revolution, when they accumulate too much, then radiocarbon, the amount of radiocarbon in the atmosphere also dilutes the sample C14. Apart from that, nuclear testing dramatically has increased C14 levels starting in the 1950s. So the results again cannot be completely reliable, basing if we are basing carbon dating on these two criteria. Okay, now moving on to our question. Look at this question. This is for your mains. What is carbon dating? Discuss the challenges with the method and also the utilities of this method in different fields. In 250 words, try to write it. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay updated.